Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast and it's hosted by Northern Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I'm the other host, Paul. On this special episode, we are joined by the wonderful Dan from another nerdy Facebook group website, Bleading Marvelous. If you've actually, I'm sure everyone's it, and I'm getting tongue tied already, so that's always a good start. But yes, so we are joined this week by a very special guest, and we are excited to basically talk all about it. So, and we are going to talk a little bit about horror as well, because I know she is a bit of a horror fan. So we always do get the guests to start off and tell us a little bit about yourselves. I know we're going to talk a lot about yourself, but give us a little introduction there.
Who are you?
That is the existential question we all dread answering, isn't it? I am Dan. I'm 42. I usually have very purple hair, and I'm a big nerd.
Mm-hmm.
I have a love of horror and all things weird and alternative and way far away from what people think is the normal. But I just enjoy being weird.
Oh,
is it really?
You're in such good company.
Yes.
Because I am the worst.
In many ways in one. So yes.
I really am.
But no, so I know you've the Bleeding Marvelous Facebook page has been around for quite a number of years now. So when did you get started there?
Oh, well, the business itself's been running for about 14 years. It's been I've been many incarnations throughout the years. Like we were jewellery at one point, just strictly handmade jewellery. Then we went on to clothing, and then I was dead against doing clothing ever again because of all the returns and having to sort all that nonsense out. So I was like, never doing that again. And then I started finding things that I hadn't seen people selling anywhere else. So I just started buying small amounts and testing the water, seeing if they would sell. And it turns out they did. And then I bought more, and then I bought more, and then I bought so much that we had to go in and we started doing the shows and started peddling my wares to all the unsuspecting public. So
and all the nerds out there as well.
Yeah. No, and honestly, you're up north is our biggest, like Newcastle, Durham, Middlesbrough, all around that area is our biggest. We sell the most stuff online to that area.
That's probably interesting, because for a long time as well, we've not really had many nerdy things or things to get access. Where we're based in Sunderland, we still don't have a comic book shop.
No,
which
the closest one, like comic book wise, is Darlington.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah,
and that's Newcastle. Yes.
Yeah, Newcastle. I forget about Newcastle, but Darlington. It's only because I go to that one.
I think I know the one you mean. I think I'm like 2 visits away from getting a free night as an honorary Geordie, possibly. I'm not really sure. You know, we spend so much time up there because our best friends are up there, so we come up quite a few times a year. We go to Tynemouth Market quite a lot. So
yes, a few of the members of the group are like avid Tynemouth marketers. But trying to think back, because I remember, I know this is gonna sound creepy, but it's not meant to sound creepy. I remember meeting you a few years ago at a convention, but like I say, it was kind of like me just walking on the stall, and I remember the big purple hair. So and like I say, the banner for the Bleeding Marvelous. I think it was one of the Newcastle cons. At
the stadium.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I say, as you said, I'm obsessed with anything to do with horror or like I say, pop culture anyway. So your stall kind of like stood out with all the others, and like I say, I was wondering. I don't know if I'll be honest. I don't know if I actually bought from there, so that might be my bad. But I remember always seeing the banner, and like I say, that's when I started following the Facebook page as well. And then I was over the moon when I saw that you joined Nerdy Up North, the group as well. I was like, it kind of gave us a little bit of validation. I don't know how did you come about like finding Nerdy Up the North as well? Like, were you recommended by someone, or was it just by chance?
You lot get about.
Well.
No, I saw I think it might have been one of our friends shared something, and you know when you share something, it shows the place it's from. And I think I might have just clicked on, and I had noticed when I clicked on that quite a few of your group members were sharing memes from stuff that I'd put out. So I was like, this looks like something that if they like my page, I'll probably like this one. So I joined, and I was right. So
I think it was basically me and Kev stealing the memes for a lot of the time. But I think
it'll be Kev.
Yeah, but I remember like one time, like I think you shared one and you actually tagged us in it, and I was like, oh wow, we've been tagged in a page. And I think it was one on the early stage, because like the Facebook group's only been going for 2 years. Like it's actually 2 years this weekend, I think, that it kind of an anniversary.
Yeah, it is.
Where we started, like say this project, and then like say whenever I did like steal a meme, I'd started tagging you in a few times. So I was like, yeah, I'm feeling a bit bad being this kind of like meme thief type thing.
No, don't worry. It's one of those things when you see a meme, you save it, and then you go, all right, I'll remember that. I'll go back to where it came from. And then when you end up with like 50 in front of you, and you're trying to set up your posts for the day, and you're looking at it and you're going, who sent me that? Or where did I find that one? And I try and credit if I remember, or if someone's directly sent it to me, and I can go back and look. But it's so hard to keep track of sometimes when you scroll in Facebook and you're like, oh yeah, that's good. Yep, that's good. And then at half the time now, I'm looking at stuff going, oh, I stole that, and every single one of them is from your page. So I was just like, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work.
No, it's like,
be from Kev.
It's sharing the love between the nerdy community. That's the good thing about it, though, as well.
That's the thing. There's no rules.
No
one says you can't.
Not between nerds.
No. But that's the thing, though, because like say when we started out, I didn't have a fucking clue how this whole Facebook thing, like nerds things work. All I wanted to do was like write articles and say I like the Goonies, I like Jaws, I like that type of movies. Sam was the one that pushed to do the podcast, as I keep saying like many times. But I never actually used the Facebook page, like actual page, to grow anything. It just like say it left standing. And it was about a year ago that Grant, who normally comes on the podcast as well, he's like the one where the porn links normally find and follow. But he actually said, look, if you share stuff and actually people like it, then they kind of start following you and stuff. And that's how we went from, I think it was about 2,000 members to 7,000 now. So it's kind of shot up over the last year, which is great. And but like I say, when look at, because I know you've been going a little bit longer than us, but like I say, I think yours was, I noticed was around, is it 36 or 34,000?
Wow, we're just over 36,000. But I mean, that has been a long time in the making. But Facebook is making it so hard for businesses who aren't content creators to get any bigger. You sort of stall, and the only way you're going to be able to make things bigger is by boosting everything, paying to boost your posts, paying to boost this and that. And it's like it starts to get out of control. We're not small businesses don't have large advertising budgets. We have to depend on word of mouth. That's why when we do the shows, we like to be at as many shows as possible so people can see us. But you know, Facebook is making it intensely hard. So I've tried to sort of go to TikTok now, and being an old lady, you know, being 42 and trying to navigate the waters of content creating, it's a difficult thing.
It's scary, yes. Like
it's
TikTok and Twitter, I can't get my head around.
Love TikTok. I am obsessed. I have lost hours. Can we swear yet?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I have lost shitloads of hours to that app. And I run the Nerdy Up North one, and for all I haven't got the greatest of followings, I have quite reasonable views. I'm quite pleased with it, especially with it's just me stealing shit off YouTube, piecing it together and putting something around it.
It's like hours. I can watch and watch, but it's the whole thing where you start having to work out, okay, as a business, how do I showcase what we're about, but not lose the fact that I'm also a business. But I don't. The one thing I've always found with Facebook, which I hope I've found a good balance with, is that I don't bombard people with sales posts, because I know we're a business, but at the end of the day, people don't want to join a business that's just going to hammer products at you 24/7. That's not.
I get that.
it's not viable to me. It don't make sense.
No, I totally understand that. There's one in particular, I'm not name the company, but there's one company, and they are horror based, and it's constant, constant, and it does get on me tits a bit.
Well, that's the thing. It's got to be something. I never went with the intention of wanting to build like a community of like-minded people. It just sort of happened on the way, you know. And
like
the
building
more
a cult.
It is, in all intents and purposes, a very weird cult because people have stuck around for a very long time. There's people on that page that have been around since, I want to say, at least 10 years, and you see that their names pop up, and you start to make actual friends with people that you know, and you've met a lot of things. I mean, I met my other half through my page. So
wow.
Oh really?
Yeah. So it's a very strange. It's not a dating app. Let's just clarify that.
Yeah.
But, you know,
No, saying that though, when we did start out like the Nerdy Up North like thing, we had a million ideas, but we did had people like saying, "Oh, you should make a dating app for nerds and stuff." I was like, "No, that because to me that was like so many different problems or so many things that could happen, and if anything did happen, I would blame myself so much."
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh, we'll do Nerdy Up North meets," which we did arrange one, and I absolutely hate it because I'm not the biggest social of people anyway. So it made me feel so uncomfortable. But it's crazy like how many different things, because when I started this out, I had no intention of growing it, or like say this was just going to be a project to help me through lockdown, because like say it was driving us nuts. But I know you're doing it on the business side, and like say, and it's quite, I think, telling when you say about how Facebook changes things and makes it so difficult. Because I've noticed, because we just start doing like random posts now, random like things on the Facebook page, and the difference to how many views it gets to like some posts, like we got done a never ending story one at New Year that blew up, got like over 500,000 views, and then done one the next day, like similar type of meme, it got 200. So it's kind of like how
people have got weird taste if they've like a never ending story over something else. Weird taste.
Don't you dissing the never ending
You
story.
know how much I hate that film.
Yeah, in a previous life I have worked with Lamar, so
wow.
Yeah, I used to be a Butlins redcoat.
Oh wow. Well, that is such a turn of events.
That was back in the 2000 to 2002. I was at Skeg Vegas for 2 years, and
I think Emma was there, but I don't know about what time. Wasn't she at Butlins or something like that?
Which one?
I think Emma was at Butlins. She was at Skegness as well, I think, yeah. One of our friends, she was called Emma McCleary at the time, but I don't know if it was the same time.
Right. There's quite a few Emmas, so it could.
Yes.
I could. To be honest with you, it was one of those jobs that I didn't go to university. I was actually I left school, went to college in London, and then my mum met the love of her life, and we had to move to the arse of England, which is, you know, the round little bit where it's sort of the arse sticks out on England, just straight down from you. But yeah, the east of England, and yeah, just sort of thought, oh, I don't like it here. I need to do something, and then started being I was a labourer on a big building site with my stepdad for a while.
Right. They've had quite a storied adventure so far.
I'm strapped in for this ride, haven't we?
Oh God, it gets really boring. Don't worry. Yeah, yeah, and then the opportunity came up to do. I was in a duo, you know, like you go out and you do your pub singing, Vic Reeves style, you know. And I did. I paid my dues. I went out and did the working men's clubs and all that sort of thing, and then I got the chance to audition down in London to be a Red, and I think it was like there was something like, I completely get shot down for saying this because I'm probably wrong. There was like 5,000 people turned up for the audition, and there was only like 90 jobs. And I was one of the lucky ones because I just made a complete tit of myself for the entire audition and didn't take it seriously. And they were like,
"We'll take you."
Yeah. So, yeah. So then I had the joy of working at Skeg for 2 years there, and worked with a lot of people, and it set me in
people.
Yeah. But yeah, it set me in a good stead for sort of going into conventions and not being too afraid of famous people. I don't know what you call it. Those people they get to come in and do the shows that might need the money a bit more than they say they do.
Yeah, apparently so. But yeah,
allegedly.
But you do have, like, say, quite a robust schedule, shall we say, as well, because you do pretty much, like, when it's convention season. I'm always seeing you're posting that you're up here, down there, so you do the miles as well, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think we sort of stick to try and do one a month for the convention season, and the convention season is roughly between 9 to 10 months. But then this year's a bit crazy because Monopoly is expanding, which is one of the bigger companies that we work with, and I must say they are a fantastic company to work with. And that's not me brown nosing, that is just genuinely.
I've tried reaching out to them. I've sent them an email, but I didn't get a response.
My best friend is last year in Liverpool, and she's got all of the ones booked in for this year, but she was a guest artist on there in Liverpool. I think I've already said that. And it was an experience. But I've been doing the conventions with her since 2016.
Yeah, we've been on the scene since, I want to say 2016, but I could be wrong, because it was the very, very first Walker Stalker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we got, I don't even know how it came about now, because I have Alzheimer's, but it was 6 years, coming on for 7 years ago, and I remember we sort of somehow got in, and we were sponsoring the cosplay competition, and at that year they had Andrew Lincoln, they had the full lot of them.
I remember it.
And I'd never done a show before, didn't know what I was walking into. Luckily I had a friend at the time that did a lot of expos, so she said it was going to be this way, and I did it, and it was that way. It was completely different, and I was so underprepared stock wise. I had no idea what I was walking into. And all I remember feeling after I'd done it was the sense of that, oh, I really enjoy this. Can this be a thing? And the more people you talk to, that you sort of work with, that you've now got, I've got great working relationships with a lot of small businesses that do the shows and stuff, and you know, they sort of say, oh, try here, try there, and so you sort of go around and you do that, and you find more shows. And then with Monopoly getting so big, especially this year, we're booked into about 10 of their shows this year. So it's,
I have quite a few booked in.
Yeah, I think it's down to, as well, with like the caliber of people they're bringing in. I think I know it sounds silly, but like having the likes of John Cena and stuff like that at certain events, like you would never think like a UK convention would have someone that's on the rise. Like, because John Cena's just done Peacemaker. I know it's like a TV show, but he's going to be on to bigger, better things now, moving on to different things. Just but the
bloody love that show.
Yeah, it was so good.
The only thing that's worrying me a little bit, because everyone, like all the conventions, seem to be announcing guests, but because I know the names that they're going to be doing in the Northeast now, which again, great, because like I say, we're finally getting stuff back up here now, but they've not announced anyone for the Northeast one yet.
I think they're still figuring out how they're gonna put the show on,
the logistics of it. I
mean, I'm not by any means in with any of that. I just know that they haven't technically told everybody who's applied for the show that if we've got positions there yet. So they're still in that phase where they're working everything out. I mean, fingers crossed we'll be there. We've put ourselves in for it because, like I say, you guys are our biggest buyers up there, so it would be stupid of me not to come up.
Well, because I think the last time, like, I think the show, was it Showmasters, I think, was like the last big ones, but like say that was like but to be honest, like it wasn't like the best run, but the people like the people in the Northeast, like I remember going one time and I had early bird tickets and I couldn't get in for like 3 or 4 hours because the queue was that big. It was literally all the way around the centre and just kept on going round. And I don't think they were expecting as many people, because we are starved in the Northeast for anything massively. That's like kind of interest, because I know we are starting getting like little ones now. I know, like I say, we've done we've been asked to do a cosplay competition for Nerdfest. Like I say, that's just like in the boiler rooms, just and so it's like a small scale. There's no guests there, but it's more just like selling or like showcasing stuff.
Exactly. It's somewhere for traders to go in the Northeast because, over the last few years, it's like you say, Paul, we have been absolutely starved. And we're only just starting to see the like nerd merchandise becoming more available to where we're not paying stupid amounts for shipping fees.
But the only thing as well, because I'm interested. I was interested about your story saying like the first time, because we went to our first con as a team last year. We did like I say a panel at SunnyCon, which basically friend and person who's on the podcast as well, Donna and her partner run type thing, but it's more for anime and stuff like that. But we were absolutely shitting ourselves. We
massively.
We're used to basically sitting in front of a computer and talking to each other like this, where like there's nothing to touch, there's no one in front of us, and having to sit on a table and talk about stuff like we are now, but like talking about like movies and stuff. And we thought there would be about 10, 20 people there, and the room filled up to was like over 120 people in the room.
My God, yeah. It just kept getting, like every 2 minutes someone else would come in and then and my heart just kept going down and down and down. And I'm fine with public speaking. Like, but I've done performing arts for the vast majority of my life. Does not bother us. But the more people that kept coming in and sitting down, I was like, oh God, this is getting real.
But that was things I had I get social anxiety at the best times. I can be on a bus and like freak out. But when I sat, like say before the event, I was like, right, this is not going to work. I don't know how I'm going to do this. But as soon as I sat down on the table and like say I had people then we start talking about, because like we start talking about 80s movies and 90s movies and stuff, and I just enjoyed it. But I was playing with the crowd as well, and it felt like quite natural. And I was like, yeah, I could do this, because even to the point there, because we're in the small room, we said to Donna, like for the next year, went right, want the main stage.
Yeah, he was.
That's what I like. That's what I like.
But the minute that mic was in his hand, like I think because of that, our whole dynamic changed. Like everything got lightened up, and we had I had you on this side, I had Jake on that side, Charlotte right now. Like we were very much. I was comforted anyway. Apart from when he decided to break my heart in front of a room of people, that was horrifying.
What did you do?
Jar Jar needed to be out of his box.
I don't like certain things being taken out of boxes. I don't.
I get it.
And he decided, when at the perfect moment when we were talking about Star Wars, and Jar Jar is one of my favorite characters. I just fucking love him. And he decided to unbox him. And there's an actual. I have footage on our TikTok of my heart breaking and me nearly crying.
I could have done the Ghostbusters. That would have been more interesting.
I'd have drop kicked you off that chair.
But yeah, with you doing the cons and stuff like that, because I know we were talking about like before you came out, like some of the autographs you've got and stuff like that. So you must have met some amazing people. Amazing.
Drop some names.
Clang. Right. I'll start with the from last year. My favourite I met last year, Corey Taylor at For the Love of Horror.
Oh wow!
It was like, I'm a massive music buff as well as movies and TV, and like back in the day when I was at Butlins, I used to do a lot of singing as well. So it's like progressed through the years, went through like having a recording contract and all that sort of stuff, and it fizzled out because showbiz. Jazz hands. But it's one of those things. That's life. I couldn't do it now because Jesus Christ, you have to yodel and you have to look like a emaciated carrot these days to get anywhere. And I feel so sorry for younger people trying to break into the business because they have no idea.
No.
I did music management for a couple of years back as well, and I had some great bands that worked for me, and they went on. And I love music. So meeting Corey was just like this weird,
full circle type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was odd. It was just odd, but it was really good because I always made him laugh, and I always think if I can make someone laugh, then my job here's done.
Yeah. No,
don't take things too seriously.
I am a huge Slipknot fan, and Corey Taylor in general. He on a multiple occasions in many different aspects and forms, he has saved my life in the most literal sense possible, whether it be through his books or through his music. And I could not make that weekend for the love of horror. Gutted.
We had tickets.
Yes. We had tickets to come down on the Sunday, but I had some unfortunate events happen in my household, so I could not make it. So that meant nobody else could go either.
No,
because I was driving.
Yeah, because I think I actually messaged Dan before and said that we were going to come down, so we're going to actually see you at the table as well. So
I'm so sorry.
Honestly, it was crazy busy, which is great. But it was one of those things where I had I also work with a YouTuber, Emily Boo, and she is one of the most down to earth. If you ever see any of her videos, she rips the plaster off, and she's about as honest as they come. She does a lot of unboxing videos for us, and she came up and she did For the Love of Horror whilst we were there, and she did a vlog and everything like that as well. And I hardly got time to talk to her because it was just so full on. Which I'm not complaining about. Please don't think I am.
No, the convention, because I've been since 2019. I've been twice, and the convention bit where all the sellers are, my God, there is not a lot of room to breathe in there at all. The best part was when we were there the last time, my best friend was pregnant. So I was just like, out of the way, pushing, get away, pushing everyone out the way of that. Amazing.
Yeah. Other than that, we've been quite lucky because we went to America with the Dents in 2019, and we did like a cross country thing, and we ended up we done Spooky, and we met Elvira.
Oh no!
I met David Duchovny was there. I met him. I met Gillian Anderson, and she signed this American Gods. It's the American Gods.
I can't quite make out I can't quite make it out, but now I kind of see the hair.
No, it's
wow!
It's the Lucille.
Lucille Ball.
Yeah, so she signed that for me, and she was so excited to see someone from England. She just kept saying to me, "Are you from England?" And she had her English accent, and when to this day, her accent still shocks me every time I hear it. I'm like, oh yeah, she's English, but she isn't. She's Australian, English, American.
It's our husband is the guy who does The Crown.
Which one?
Gillian Anderson. Her husband. The Crown, the TV series, and The Queen, which was the movie that Helen Mirren's in. That's him. He does all that. That's why she was Margaret Thatcher.
Well, she
plays a lot.
Yeah. And she did it very well.
Yeah, it was a very difficult one because, like I say, having the love of me like Gillian Anderson playing the most hated.
Oh yeah, especially from the northeast.
But yes, no, like I said, I know, like I said, Dave makes us jealous on a daily basis because he's always sharing his pictures. Like when he was,
he's a show off. Ignore him.
Yes, like I said.
Hi, Dave.
I don't know. He was watching earlier. I don't know if he's still watching, but
I don't know.
he was popping up because he was saying about Shitmasters every time he was saying it. But yeah, it's one of them things. I might not come across that way, but I am probably one of the shyest people you'll ever meet. Like even for example today, I took stickers out for the Nerdy Up North to podcast to give out to people and stick on places. I think I only gave one away because I was that scared to talk to people today. So.
No, honestly, I get it. I can be like that. It depends what mood I'm in. I can sometimes, like before a show on a Friday night, after we've done setup, I'll sit there and I think to myself, I can't do it. It gets so peoply, and it's one of those things where you have to be on your game. You have to be ready to talk to anybody about anything. And I'm talking from personal problems with strangers up to the minute details of an action figure. And I don't have anything against anybody that wants to share anything like that with me. It's nice that they feel that they're that comfortable, but some nights before you'll be sitting there and you're going, oh, can I do this? I don't know if I can people tomorrow. I don't know if I can people.
I totally get that.
And then you wake up and you're like, right, come on.
Yeah. So the Liverpool Monopoly one was the first weekend. That was our first weekend. I think Carolyn did London Film and Comic Con a few years ago. But this was my first weekend where we weren't setting up and then packing up on the same day. it was staying there overnight, and we had to come back the next day. And you do become people's personal therapists. I take a lot of credit for her work when she's not at her stand. So I have to try and talk my way into, yes, I did all this beautiful artwork.
It was me.
I've done it before. I have actually done it before, where someone said, oh my God, is this your work? And I'm like, yes.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here, Dan. So which is the favourite con that you've been to, or which is the one that you enjoy the most? Is that too hard of a question?
I think it just entirely depends on the guests that are there. Personally, it's one I've not worked, but I've been to, and it's Rhode Island Comic Con in Rhode Island in America. It's militantly organized. There's no stress. Nobody ever moans there. The queues are always really well organized, and the level of guests they get there. I met Danny Trejo there.
Wow.
Kiefer Sutherland I met there. Tim Curry I met there.
Right.
Jason Patrick.
I met him.
I'm trying to think.
He's very uncomfortable. Like he's was very anxious.
Yeah.
When we were getting stuff signed, he's a really anxious person. I did not expect that at all. He
didn't, because obviously him and Kiefer have only just recently healed a little thing, the Julia Roberts thing. I think that's what it was, TikTok told me, so it must be real.
Of course it's true.
But yeah, and they just sort of healed that, so you could see they weren't too comfortable yet standing together. But and then I met, and Dave will know what I'm talking about, my all-time favorite film since I can remember is Adventures in Babysitting.
Yes.
I do like it. It is just, I don't know why, loved it.
It's probably the same nostalgia feeling that I get from the Goonies type thing, because it was it's around the same time.
And it's
a bit shoe.
And they had Brad there.
Right.
And Dave and Leslie have been up before me, and at their birth, they have an anniversary party every so often. Dave says he'll never do another one, but Leslie thinks otherwise. But they asked if I would sing, so I did, and I sang the song from Adventures in Babysitting, the one where and that is my social anxiety, getting up and singing in front of people. I physically nearly chundered about 10 seconds before I went on, but I met him, and I don't know why, that was just the best ever. And he was like, he was my height, and he was older, and I was just like, you look nothing like you did, but yay, I'm so happy. And he told them, Dave and Leslie had told them that I sang it, and he put me on the spot when I went up to him. Didn't know I didn't even know they'd been up to him, and he was like, so go on then, sing me the song you sang at their party. And I was like, what? And I just froze. I went completely blank and was like, no words, nothing, no noise. And it's probably about the only time that I've ever been proper
stumped.
Yeah. I'm not a quiet person, but I'm also not a loud person. But I was like, oh my God.
Did you hit Dave afterwards though?
I had choice words. I think it was Dave. Fuck off. But
So who's the most awkward person you've ever met?
Oh, let's not be that guy.
Oh, I want to know.
I'm the awkward person because I say dumb shit. I say some stupid shit to people. I met Alan Tudyk, and I said to Alan Tudyk, "Hello, you're the tallest person I've met today."
I'm not allowed to talk to people.
I mean, it's like, oh God, Bam Margera, however you want to say his surname.
Oh,
he was a bit weird, but then knowing what we know now,
yeah.
But oh God.
That's the thing though, because
I like to know the nitty gritty.
I'm one of them ones, people that I'm too scared to go and actually meet ones. Like the closest I got Kevin Smith to like a few of me tweets a few times, and I got really excited that to the point where I was sending Kevin Smith tweets asking him to come on the podcast, knowing full well I would freak out if he ever did respond or said. I think I offered even said if you come on the podcast I would get on my knees and suck him off as well. So that was
wow.
there was that invitation there, but yeah.
But he did not take it up.
No, he did not. Surprise. I'm sure he
God.
got better offers there, but yeah, he would be the one person I think I would love to meet, just because I know I can talk, but don't think I would get a word in edgeways with him.
No. Yeah, I've never actually met him. He was at Showmasters. I think it's must be 2017, 2018, I think it was. And it was the same year Jeremy Renner was there, but
God!
But Jeremy Renner wasn't.
No, it was like Hurt Lock of Fame rather than Avengers Fame.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
And I regret not going and seeing Kevin and not going and seeing Jeremy, but it was one of those things where we can't always get away from the stall either, so we have to really work out who we're going to see on what days and prioritize. And I think it might have been Meatloaf 2019, but I went and met Meatloaf in 2019 because he did Showmasters, and Kane Hodder, and there's no way I'm passing up Kane Hodder. So
Kane is such a sweetheart.
But yeah, it's just I remember the very first Showmasters I went to was either 2015 or early 2016, and that was the year with Sigourney Weaver. I met her. I saw Bill Paxton through the tiny little gap, but I didn't meet him. And to this day, that's the one I kick myself about the most.
Yeah.
Not meeting him. I met Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd.
What is she doing?
But yeah, when I start looking back at all my photos, and I met Neve Campbell there as well. I'm trying to complete my Screen One set of photos with every cast member. So I'm just waiting on Rose McGowan, who's just been announced for Wales.
Yes, I saw that,
Jamie Kennedy, but he never comes over. And the chances of ever getting Courtney Cox is
slim to none.
They are the three that I need to complete my full set. If we're going to get super anal about it, they're
So so I take it you met Skeet and Matthew at For the Love of Horror. Oh my gosh.
Well, I met Matt at the Edinburgh HorrorCon in 2018, 2019, and he thought it was hilarious to use the C word. I don't know if I'm allowed to use that one on there, so I'm going to scale that one down.
He does all the time.
He thought it was hilarious because he could get away with using that word in England, and because it's obviously not something they use. And he was skipping around the convention, just using it as like a full stop. And I'd already been up to him, and I've got a Stu Mocker signed hop that my friend made for me there. Right. And I went up to him, and I had a 13 Ghosts one as well, and I gave him the 13 Ghosts one, and he signed that one for me. And we were chatting for a while, and then I went up and had my photo done a bit later, and he looked down at me and he goes, "All right, you miserable cunt." And I was just like, so you see me in the photo, there's love it. He's 6 foot something looking down on me.
He's a giant.
And you just see me going,
"You what?"
in the photo, and it's like, he's fantastic. I just love how stupid he is. He doesn't care.
Yeah. So. No, I've heard good things about Matthew Lillard as well. He's supposed to be, I said, my friend went to Love and Horror the year that they were there. Yeah. And like I said, it was just before she got married. She was saying, I'm trying to get him to give information about the new Scream, because it was just before it was coming out. He's going, "Are you in it? Are you in it?" And he's going, No, I'm definitely dead. But
because I was absolutely convinced that he wasn't. I'm still not.
All the way through, I was like, he's going to be her dad. He's going to be her dad, and there's going to be some link, and then this is going to happen, and then that's going to happen, and we're all going to go.
Technically, he was in it though.
Yeah, it was his house.
No. He played, the ghost face with the gold mask. Like the video, like the trailer.
Was it him?
Yeah, it was him. Yeah, he played. There was a trailer for one of the Stab movies, and he was in the gold. Like it was like a metallic or gold skin, but it was Matthew Lillard. That was a little in joke that they had.
That is new today.
Well, I know because he's in Scream 2. For like all of 2 seconds. Because he was in a relationship with Neve Campbell at the time, so he was on set when they were doing this scene, and it's him just walks past the screen, and that's it. So Stu still lives.
Because that's why everyone was freaking out, because in IMDb it was showing he was cast.
Yeah.
He's me thinking I was being all smart and clever, because if you watch our trailer reaction, I'm getting Stu's alive. I'm telling you now.
I was 100% convinced, and I have to say though, I was a little disappointed in that film, the new one.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't review. We only review films we like, so we didn't review that one.
Yeah.
The new Halloween.
Oh no, we can't mention that film.
We won't go there.
No.
We won't. I'm a lover of it. If it worked, you don't need to do 75 of them to try and keep repeating the success of the first one. The reason why the first one was a success was purely because no one had ever done anything like that before. You know. But then in saying that, I think when you reach 4 or 5, you should cut everything. 3 is a maximum for me, but when you get to number 5, you've just got to stop. You just got to stop.
That's horror's biggest problem. It can't.
Yeah, last year we did a few reviews where we did the Friday the 13th movies. So we tried to watch all of them.
Right.
Some of them were interesting. Like I said, there's the Goonies Friday the 13th, where I didn't even realise that Corey Feldman was actually in it as a bad guy. But like I said, then we did the Halloween movies, and after like I know they do like H2O, which brought it back, and like I said, different ones. But the one with like Paul Rudd and stuff like that in were absolutely so hard to watch. But
that was awful. That was so bad.
I couldn't watch them.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it to myself. I'm tarnishing everything that I love about Halloween to watch. No, I'm not doing it. But then I went and watched the last one, and it just did exactly the same. So
I just was let down. The opportunities that they had. Same with the new Scream. The opportunities they had with that new trilogy. They could have gone in so many different directions. And the first one was so good. Dave fell asleep in the cinema next to me, snoring his tits off. Excellent. And my other half's going, is he asleep again? I was like, yeah, it's just not that good, is it? And I was like, no, it's not that good. But we were in America when that first one of the new trilogies come out, so we got to see it a little bit earlier. And I was like, oh, I've got so much hope for this, and thought, this is going to be great. I walked away thinking, maybe another watch and I'll be convinced. And I wasn't. No. And then the second one come out, and I waited for it to be released. I think it came out because it was pandemic, wasn't it? So I think it came out streaming only, the second one. I can't remember. And I got to the point where if they had said tonight he dies or whatever it is one more time, I was like,
evil ends tonight.
Evil ends.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. I was like, no more.
Yeah, because the second one just felt like a placeholder movie type thing where like nothing really happened in the movie. It just went.
I really enjoyed the first one though.
Yeah, but that was the thing though. As you said, it's the hope that kills you with these type of movies. But I always look forward to Dave's reviews, because like a movie that I love, he'll hate. Or like, because even he came out and said he enjoyed the new Halloween Ends. I think it was one of the only people that said on Facebook that actually enjoyed it. I was like, but again, there was a lot of different choices, as I think that's the best way we can describe choices made for that movie, and decisions were made, and that's what we got. And as you said, what we could have got, if like say it could have been Jamie Lee Curtis being a complete badass all the way through, but then we got like say just older Jamie Lee Curtis fighting with this young guy, and it didn't quite work. But that leads quite nicely on you, because I know like when we asked Dan to come on the podcast, I did get her to do a little bit of homework as well. So I asked her to pick a top 5 horror movies, which she did get a little bit upset with me at first. She said it was like picking her favourite children.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can find mine, just to see if it changes throughout you giving yours.
But we've never done it. We've never done an actual top 5 horrors. We've done a top 5 slashers and top 5 without a slasher.
Right.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? There's so many subgenres, and my opinion on a movie being one thing, I get completely berated by the people either on the page or like public opinion that no, that's something else. It's not a horror movie. It's a monster movie, or it's a sci-fi, or it's a.
We have this argument quite a lot.
I'm like, what I class as a horror movie is what I've put down, but they aren't my top 5 all time, because I have no idea what my top 5 all time is. They always change. So at the moment, they are, as of now, the ones I've enjoyed in the last couple of months, maybe. The newer films of new films. I've done the top 5 newer ones that I've enjoyed watching. So
cool. No, that's the thing. When we started doing the podcast, originally we were thinking, let's do top fives, and there's only so many times you can do that on a weekly basis. That's why we start reviewing films and then having discussions about films. But like I say, the top fives is always interesting because we try and keep it secret from each other as well, so we don't discuss it. There has been occasions where there's been picks, but lately, like some of the ones that we've picked, I can't remember the last time we've done a top five. What was it again?
It was with Michaela, and it was
Oh,
villains.
top
and
five
it
villains.
Was villains.
You went fucking dark, and I was picking
You
I was picking Lotso from Toy Story and shit like that, and they were like,
we went like to the dark side of dark, and he's picking Disney shit.
Well, yes, like Lotso was mine. Or what was it, Sheriff from Nottingham and stuff
Yeah,
like that?
you went really PG with your list.
Right, and Grant's picking like murdered set pieces and shit like that. I was like, fuck.
I know. And then we had to talk about it too. And then Paul's like, well, I'm going to follow that up with Disney.
We've actually banned Grant from talking about the Serbian film as well. Yeah. He said he's not allowed to pick that film.
Yeah, that's that belongs over there somewhere. Yeah.
It can go in the cupboard and it can stay there.
Yeah.
So what is your first pick? What's your first one?
Showgirls.
Terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
Oh,
had to be done. Had to be done.
I love you so much. That is so cool.
Honestly, it's my go-to when anyone asks what my favorite horror film is. So it's Showgirls, isn't it? So
to be fair, that sex scene was like just bizarre.
I have only ever seen Showgirls once, and I did it at the Show Gallery in Newcastle. I think I'm saying that right. Graham will probably correct us, but it was a cinema room, like a homemade cinema room, and I watched it with a bunch of drag queens, and it was one of the most best experiences of my entire life, especially when that sex scene came up, because one queen shouted from the back, "If that's what heterosexual sex looks like, count me out."
Yes, it is. Be glad you are. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. The whole film, ridiculous, and it would be wrong of me not to quote Randy, wouldn't it? You know, when he's in his it's in Scream 2, where he's in the class with Timothy Oliphant, and they asked him what's your favorite Showgirl. Yeah, and it stuck with me. That did. Showgirls. So
I love that answer so much.
And that was a Saved by the Bell fan, and it upset us so much.
It's the line where she says, "It's Versace." Me and Michaela say it all the time. It's Versace.
Yes,
love it.
It's ridiculous. Okay, okay. So out of films I've watched in the last 5-6 months.
Cool.
I don't have them in any specific order.
No, we never do, because that's too hard. That's impossible.
But they're just films I've really enjoyed, and I'd recommend people give a watch if they can be asked. Don't have to. Really doesn't make any difference if they do. No. But I really enjoyed Barbarian.
Not seen it yet.
It's on Disney Plus right now, because that is the real one place it needs to be. But it is so bizarre. At the end, there's bits in it where you just go, eh? But the storyline is really well done, and I love it when they take turns and you're not expecting something, because everything is so bloody predictable now. When you're a horror fan, you know what's going to happen. The setup, the execution, or the event, and then the aftermath. You know that's going to happen. But I like it when you've got people who look at it like Quentin Tarantino. You know, you mix it up, you throw it around, you change a bit, you put that there, and it throws you off. And that leads me to The Menu. I only watched that last week.
But... that's on me. That is on my next takeaway meal movie. Anytime we get a takeaway, we watch a movie, and that's on the list. I need to see it so badly.
It is so well done. The cast they're not necessarily people I would go out of my way to watch in other films, but it was so well done. You have to really be on your game when you're watching it. It's the little things that matter.
Yeah.
and it's just doesn't go where you're thinking it's going to go. I went in there thinking, oh, I know what this is about.
Yeah.
It'll be about this. No, completely wrong.
Well, this is TikTok all over, because I see little clips come up, and obviously I've switched past straight away, but I've seen enough to go, I know this.
Yeah.
No. I know this. No. But I probably don't.
Another one recently came out, Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus.
Yes.
I have to be honest, I am a huge Universal Monsters fan. My hall, which you can't see, but out that door we've got nothing but Universal Monsters in our hallway. So we've got Dracula and the creature looking down the stairs over the top.
Let's
coming out the wall.
Find where she lives. Is it the big creature? The big the oh god, I can't think who did it, but it's like
the Grave Walker. We used to sell them, but we now sell the Draculas because we sold out of all the creatures, and we've got the Dracula coming off of this wall and the creature coming off of this wall, and then we've got
I get paid next week. I'm going to be looking at your site.
And then we've got just loads of. I'm a bit of a whore, so I'll pick up weird things like when I see Universal Monster stuff that I haven't seen. My ring light is actually on the werewolf's cane from, you know. That's where I can get it to stick at the moment. But
where else are you going to put
it? Exactly. Handy. But yeah, I loved Werewolf by Night because it had the sense of humour from the modern day, but it was done in such a great style. And they kept true to the way that the original movies sort of felt in the filming style. And I remember, it was only an hour long, but I remember just sitting there going, I haven't seen anything like that for years. And I really, really enjoyed it. And it was beautiful. Yeah, it was just so well done. And came out of far right for me.
No, I really enjoyed that as well. As you said, with it being Marvel's getting, as you said, we're talking about predictable. Marvel has been predictable for the last year and a bit, quite as much. But that was like, I felt like a risk from Marvel as well. And I like, as you said, the old style where they don't show you too much. Like everything's done in shadows. Like the violence is done in shadows and stuff like that, and the colours and everything. And I love the Wizard of Oz reference at the end where it goes from black and white to the Technicolor and stuff, and anything like that. I'm all for, all in any day of the week. But and the cast, like I can't remember the woman's race, but from Frasier that
Dee Dee. I can't think of the actress's name.
I know who you mean. Yeah.
It's just absolutely amazing. Like anytime she was on the screen, he just was drawn to it. And but yeah, like I said, one of the favorite things Marvel's done for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean that Marvel is my go-to switch off. I love, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, although I know everybody on the page will probably kill me for saying it, but Marvel is like my go-to switch off, happy place. If I don't, I can sit and watch 15 horrors back to back and go to sleep and sleep very well because I'm one of those people. I can listen to true crime podcasts because I'm that white, typical woman. Although I hate pumpkin spice latte.
Me too. My God, are we just the same person?
Me?
I can fall asleep with Devil's Rejects and think absolutely nothing of it.
It just, I think I've become so desensitized because of my love of horror that it's just, I'm looking for that next thing that makes me go.
Yeah.
And quite recently, I've been watching a lot of dubbed or subtitled films. So I watched The Sadness 2 days ago, and I have to, that is gore porn / zombie movie / I don't know what the fuck that was, but it is one of those films where if you can watch it with the subtitles, it'll be better. But it's Chinese. That was Chinese. Train to Busan, obviously one, not so much two, but one was better because the heartstrings thing, it's always there.
The only problem is with that now, it's getting an American remake.
We had this discussion the other week.
Just leave it alone. Yes. Parasite was really, really good as well. I really enjoyed Parasite. Martyrs, the French. That's
like my wife. She loves anything to do with gore and like anything like that. I am the like say the softie of the family. I love a good horror. I'm more one of the ones that like things where the things you don't see scares me more. It's because it leaves you thinking and like it uses your imagination. If you show us too much, it kind of loses the scare for us. It just gets uncomfortable. But yeah, that
I'm not a gore fan. I tried to do a Hannibal Holocaust and just freaked out within 10 minutes and went, I can't do this.
Well, I watched that and I didn't realise I had my curtains open and it was nighttime and I was watching Cannibal Holocaust and my TV at the time faced the window. So
right.
Oh God! So
anybody that was walking past was watching me watch Cannibal Holocaust. So
I freaked out. I think that my expectation of it was so high.
Yeah.
Like I heard all these stories. I was waiting for a turtle. I was like, I was like so on a high. I was like, no, I can't actually do this. So I ended up watching Sleepy Hollow instead.
Well, the Green Inferno is the poor man's version of Cannibal Holocaust. So I mean, if you can get through the Green Inferno with Eli Roth, then you know. But I think there's quite a few films lately. Like I'm not a fan of reboots. I think I've already said that, but I did enjoy the reboot of Suspiria, the Dario Argento one. Yeah, with
saying his name.
I met him at HorrorCon and I didn't know it was him. I didn't know it was him at the time. He came up. It was Sheffield HorrorCon, and it was pre-Panini, and he came up and he was being translated through with this guy, and I just for some reason it didn't twig, and I was having this conversation with him for ages, and he walked off, and one of the next stall holders came over and went, "Oh my God, what was he saying?" And I was like,
I don't know.
I know. He was asking me about like did we ever get sort of any I think looking back it was something like, did we get any merch that was based around like those films?
Yeah.
And it just did not twig that it was him, and it wasn't until he walked away I was like, oh, fuck's sake, Daniel.
That's the thing, because it's one of them things though, because the name, like, he's not really I don't think he does many interviews, or he's not big, like showing his face. So his name's always synonymous, but you wouldn't recognize him if you walked down the street. So,
I would never. It's that one scene that I'm talking about in Suspiria, where I think the newer version did that scene better than the older version, because of the way that they could either get the contortionist. That gave me the ick. It really did, and I was just like, oh, I like that. I like the fact that it's actually made me feel something. If I go away and go, I hate that film, it's still given me some sort of feeling, because majority of stuff don't.
But that's the thing though, because it's all about the discussion as well, because even if you didn't like something, you can say why you didn't like, or just pick it apart. It's the ones where you don't feel anything from like it's more disappointing than anything else. But like say one of the films like I watched this year, like horror film wise, it's always worth like pointing out, I loved, just because it was a simple ghost story, but it was like an abduction one as well, as Black Phone. It was and Ethan Hawke was absolutely amazing in it, and just like the innocent, it was kind of innocent in a way as well. That's where I liked it, but that one kind of stayed with us for this year as well. Sorry.
I thoroughly enjoyed Black Phone. X was another one I really enjoyed last year. I know.
I haven't seen Pearl yet. Pearl's the other.
It's shite.
I haven't seen that yet.
I watched it the other day. It's not like, if you have high regard for X, just keep that. Just keep it with that one.
Stay there.
Yeah. Because X, I thought, like, I'm a huge Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan, and it was giving me such like vibes. I was loving every second of it. It's nothing brand new or refreshing. It was just a plain old grainy looking slasher,
snuff film type thing.
I just really enjoyed it.
The one, this is going to be really controversial, and people are probably going to leave the page and tell me I'm a terrible human for this one, but I really didn't enjoy The Terrifiers.
No,
I'm not the biggest of. I love the aesthetic of art. Like, I think, like, aesthetically, I do like it. But I tried to watch his first one. I was bored out of my tree, and I just have not even entertained the second one. I can't do it.
The second one is better than the first, if you can say that. The character has so much potential, and the guy who plays him, I've forgotten his name. He was at HorrorCon. David something.
He's meant to be lovely.
does a fantastic job at giving the creeps to people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My mother-in-law actually makes a lot of replicas of like horror villains, and she made a replica of Art the Clown, and David saw it and he liked it, and he started following her on Instagram.
Lovely.
She's also does poltergeist clowns, and Sean Clark, who has one of the original in his collection room himself, he was at Showmasters one year and he came up to us and he said that is the best replica I've ever seen, life size one. She makes them for us to sell, and he was like asking us hundreds of questions about it and everything. And Kerry just she does amazing things. We used to have a 5-foot Pennywise from the first It that we used to take to shows with us, and we could position him behind the thing, and he had the Tim Curry, it had fully molded Tim Curry face, he had all the spiky teeth. Literally she handmade the entire costume, and it just like honestly, if you I'm going to do shameful promotion here.
No, it's fine. You'll have to post
promote promotion.
You'll have to post a Instagram on the page as well.
Please.
Yeah, it's candlelight underscore corner, and that's my mother-in-law. She's a bit shy, so if you send her messages about anything, she might not get back to you very quickly. She'll get there, but she just loves making. She's a maker. She's not a people. So, but yeah, her stuff is just like we sell quite a lot of her stuff on the stall for the bigger shows. But yeah, the stuff she makes is absolutely fantastic. So, but yeah, shameful plug. Right, where were we?
No, you plug away.
No, that's fine. That's why I wanted it on. Like these stories are like something that we want to hear and stuff. Like say that people don't get like say the credit for or to hear from as well. But yeah, like going back to the Terrifiers as well. Like, because I think when 2 was announced, it was coming out. Me and the wife watched the first one, and as I said, it was a bit. The art was intriguing, and the whole dynamic between him and the girl was quite interesting as well at the start. But then it just goes way off the rails, and you don't know what's happening or where's happening. But the second one, I was like, it went to the realms of disbelieving, and the creepy girl clown as well. I was like, yeah, this is not for me.
No.
I mean, it wasn't even for me, it was, I know it was purposefully done with like a 70s, 80s layer of
grime.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be sort of with that old sort of vibe for the films, but I just thought the acting let it down massively. Not art, because when he did All Hallows Eve, Eve, it wasn't the guy who plays him now.
No, it's a different actor.
So I'd seen him around anyway, but like these the girls, I really struggled watching them, and I was just like, you look like somebody sort of bought and said, do you want to come on and do a film? Here's 20 minutes, learn your lines, crack on. And it was so hard to not empathize, because I don't empathize, because I don't have any, because I'm a weird person, but I just you sort of feel for characters, you get empathy for them, and you think, I don't want them to die or whatever. No, I was sitting there going, when are you going to die?
Yeah.
So
I think that's with a lot of movies these days, especially with horror, because that's again, I am the biggest 80s nut. Like anything from the 80s, like I absolutely adore. They give you characters that you actually cared about and loved, and that you wanted better than. Like I say, it's not I know empathizing but just the likability factor, and a lot of horror films or like even movies that we get these days, the characters aren't likable, so you don't get engrossed and you don't get bothered. One of the ones that I was enjoying, but then they did an act through the film. I was like, right, I want this bitch to die now. It was Drag Me to Hell. As soon as she killed the cat, I was like, yeah, if you get with this alive, I'm gonna hunt you down myself.
I didn't even get to that point. When she got that cat in her hand, I paused the film and I said, just get on Wikipedia and find out what happens to that cat. And he went, yeah, turn it off. I was like, I'm not watching the rest of it.
Yeah.
I can't do animals in films. I can't do it. And thanks to Grant, speaking of, hello, kitty cat. Thanks to Grant, I can now go ahead and find out beforehand what happens to animals in films, so I don't have to. Still haven't watched Midnight Mass. Still can't bring myself to watch it.
No.
Is Dinah all right there?
Yeah, she's just jumping on my back. She does this when I'm at work as well, though. That's the thing when I'm talking to a customer, and she'll sit and saying, "What are you doing? What are you saying to people?" But yeah, so I never work with animals this year.
Yeah. Drag Me to Hell was the only film I've ever walked out in the cinema at.
Amazing.
It was the bit where obviously she was numbing her chin, you know, with her no teeth, and I just was like, it didn't gross me out, but I was like, what on earth is this nonsense?
Like, why has it happened?
I went, let's go. Yeah, let's go. And
after I asked Dan what happened, I says, just what happens at the end, and he went, yeah, she gets dragged to hell. I was getting down fuck for that.
But that's the thing, though, like certain films, I know we nearly walked out, like, because we sit for things, but we nearly walked out with Halloween Ends, and again, don't want to keep shitting on the movie. Away from that. But like, even my wife, she was like saying, like, if we hadn't have watched the two films before this, like, to get the closure, we probably wouldn't have stayed. But what would you say is, like, I know, like, say them the modern films as well, and I'm going to make this really hard for you now. What would you say is your go-to horror movie of all time?
I'm looking at my list.
Looking at the list now.
I had to write a list. It depends. Honestly, depends what kind of mood I'm in, because
I completely agree with you there. Yeah.
If I want something that's just got to make me laugh at the same time as being quite violent, Devil's Rejects.
Yes.
Because I've met Richard and I met Sid before he passed away, and Richard is one of the nicest men I've ever met. Richard Brake, in my entire life. He took 15 minutes out to talk to me about what happened on the set of Doom.
Amazing.
Wow.
He even wrote the whole quote about ladyboys, which I know is not the right vernacular. It's not my words. It's the cast. You know, it's the speech from the film, all on the front of my DVD cover. And
God,
Sid was a bit weird. There's a photo of me and Sid where he's going, right, you put your finger up and I'll go like that, and it looks like I'm saying "fuck you" in the photo, and I was like, this man knows. But he did actually. He told my other half he could talk to snakes, so I don't know if he was on his way out at that point, but he was.
Right.
He was.
Oh my gosh! I saw Richard Brake at the Phil of a Horror in 2021. So he did. I was sitting in the front row, when he was doing his talk, and he just come across so interesting. And then in 2019, obviously Sid was meant to be there, but passed away just beforehand. Yeah. And listening, they did a minute silence, and they had where his booth. They still had his booth where it was going to be, with his picture there. But they had like a book, remembrance book, that they had laid out for people to go and sign, and they did a minute silence, and listening to that whole hall go from up here to silence was really emotional, and they had like a montage on the screen, and it was just it was so lovely. I do love Sid, and Devil's Rejects is one of my favorites, and I only watch House of a Thousand Corpses for the first 20 minutes when he's in it.
Well, I met Bill as well. I've been lucky enough to meet Bill as well, and Bill's absolutely cuckoo crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I walked into him. I walked past him when I went to the toilet, and I went, oh my God.
Yeah, he's so that is my sort of one of my go-tos. But then I also, one of my favorite, it depends if I don't watch romantic films. I hate rom-coms as a rule. They don't do anything for me. They're unrealistic. People do not act like that in real life. I understand if you like them for escapism, that's your thing, lovely.
Yeah.
Me, no. My idea of a romantic film is Bride of Frankenstein.
Amazing.
That's one of my go-to. If I want to, I don't know, not get teary because I don't cry because I don't have tear ducts. No, I do, but they don't work. But yeah, it's one of my sort of favorite. I wouldn't even call it like a romantic film, but it is. It's the monster.
It is. Oh, it is. It's romance and monsters, and oh no, I absolutely adore that film.
We belong together.
I did watch Frankenstein because I'd seen Bride of Frankenstein well before I saw Frankenstein, and I watched it a couple of years ago, and I've never gotten so angry over a film before. Well, I've gotten angry, but this really got to us, and it really stuck with us for a few days on how awful they were to Frankenstein's monster. out of no fault of his own. I know, I get that it's the whole story, but it was the fact that I was like, because I was paying attention to this one. I watched Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and really was not paying that much attention. I've seen the stage show with Benedict Cumberbatch and what's his face, Johnny Lee Miller. But this, I really, really paid close attention, and I really got upset and angry, and it stayed with us for a few days. But I don't feel like that when I watch Bride of Frankenstein.
My favourite bit of Frankenstein is where he eats the kid in the water. I'm like,
the water that looks about that big. Yeah. Like, it's right on the shore.
I was just giving the kid a wish. It was back in the day. It was probably a bit scruffy looking. You never know.
Exactly. Just get in, get a wish.
Yeah, have a wash. You stink. Also, the fact that Mary Shelley was only 19 when she wrote Frankenstein, and it's like back in 18.
The oldie days.
She was lucky they didn't burn her as a witch, though.
Oh God, I know.
She got better. A nice Monty Python quote for you there. They're two sort of like, if I look at like different genres within horror, they're two of my favourite. I mean, I love Hostel for reasons I do
that
not
is
know
such
why.
a juxtaposition from like Bride of Frankenstein, then Hostel.
I think it was because at the time, like I say, with most of these first films that come out, hadn't seen anything like that, and the concept of going backpacking, and I don't think it had been overly done. It wasn't a trope at that point. It was.
Because I think the only one that came before was Saw. Because it was Saw, then Hostel came out.
And they just woke up in the room. You know, the whole movie had been based in that one room, whereas this one, they were backpackers, you know, and I think I was just a bit older than your average backpacker or gap year person, but you could still see yourself going off on holiday and, you know, jaunting around, and then you see this happen and you're like, oh, I don't think I will go away now. No.
No, I've actually got well, I don't know if I can tell this story. not me personally. I've got two very close friends that like to go on like these type of ventures. Jill's one of them. She normally goes like say she's one of these people that got pissed on a Friday night of Glastonbury and decided to hitchhike the way to Glastonbury without a ticket, without any money, and actually got in. So actually like I said, these type of ventures but they did go to one of the one of the countries, I can't remember what it was, but it was like in the former like USSR. I was like I can't remember now, but it was like Eastern European country, and they got lost and they were trying to find the way around this city on a night time, absolutely mortal drunk. One of them goes one way, one goes the other way to try and see if they can locate taxis or locate where they were. Come back, one of them was white as a sheep. When what happened, she went, I met a man, I tried to help him, like to get him to give us directions, and he tried to put his finger up my arse. and that was how the conversation went. So it wasn't the scariest Hostel where someone's going to get killed, but like I said,
terrifying.
But that's like, say if you go backpacking or traveling through, but they did the whole train journey from like all the way through like the different countries and stuff. But yeah, I remember being told that story in the pub, just wetting myself laughing. But knowing the people who they were, like normally if someone told that story, I would never have believed it in the world. That's bullshit. But the way that I was like, yeah, that would have been true.
Oh, that's an experience. That's a story to tell to the grandkids, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with a really random one here as well. Cabin in the Woods. Not a lot of people liked it. But I love the fact that there was this idea that everything's a big game.
Yeah, you know, we loved it.
And the fact that when it got to the monsters, as in 13 Ghosts, which I also love, it's the monsters that I loved rather than the storyline.
Yeah.
The idea that people, like Guillermo del Toro does it better than anyone else. He can think of those grotesque, nightmarish animal, people, hybrid things that the average person can't think of. And he puts them out there and people are like, I didn't even know I was scared of that until I've just seen it, you know. I didn't even know it existed, and now I do, and now it scares the life out of me. And Cabin in the Woods, when you look in all those tiny little booths, you keep seeing random things, and when that big attack happens at the end and you see all the different ones, you're just sitting there going, oh my god, someone's got a really fucked up imagination. I really like how they got here.
No,
and plus, Sigourney Weaver, so.
No, I loved it. It was like I said, surprise because
Me too.
I think it was one of them ones where, because when a horror film comes out, you've normally like heard months and months of like what it's going to be about, with the trailers. It kind of came out of nowhere, and so you didn't know what was happening. So when you were watching it, I didn't work out that was like what was happening throughout the film till the end bit. It was getting right. It's Monday World. It's just these things are happening in the horror films to make sure that the world doesn't end and stuff like that. So I was getting it was such a clever premise. I know, like I say, it was produced by Josh Whedon as well, wasn't it?
But, he who shall not be named.
Yeah. Because it only got released, I think, because it was going to go straight to DVD, but it only got released in the cinema because Chris Hemsworth got cast as Thor, because it got filmed before he played Thor, but it got released afterwards, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you're right. Okay.
No, go on.
No, I got into True Calling, which was the I don't know if you ever saw that TV series True Calling with, and I can never say
familiar.
Eliza, and I can never say her surname. She was in Buffy. She played Faith.
Eliza Dushku.
Yeah, I can never say her surname properly, and I don't want to butcher it. So, but yeah, I'm
surprised I could.
She plays an escort, a female escort that gets her mind wiped constantly.
Yeah.
And the guy that was in Cabin in the Woods, who was the stoner, was her like one of her controllers in that. And so I always he was called Topher, I think. So when I saw him in this, I was like, that's the only other thing I've ever seen him in. And you know, when you like, it just sticks with you. And so I was like, he's funny in that, so he's got to be funny in this, and he was. So. Just the rules, the weird rules.
No, certainly. Well, as I said, with Cabin in the Woods, it came out of nowhere, and I just loved how it played up with the tropes as well, because it took the piss out of itself. And like when you realised what was happening, you were thinking, "Oh, this is such a clever premise." But no, I remember watching it. Like say, I always go back. I think I chose it for cult classics, or possibly.
You definitely had it on the list before. I just generally can't remember at this stage which list that went onto.
Yes.
The Thing's another one, like John Carpenter's mind and how he manages to get something so disgusting and put it in a horror sci-fi, and get Kurt Russell.
I was going to ask which version, but Kurt Russell,
Kurt Russell.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the it's not even a remake, it's like a prequel / remake, isn't it? It's I don't know where it sits quite.
It's shite. I'll watch that before.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's just not when put to the. It's the same with anything. You put to the standard of the thing, everything's going to be not as good.
I hadn't seen The Thing before I watched that one, thinking I'd be clever and watch the prequel first, and I just did not enjoy it. And then I watched the original, and oh my god, I don't get scared at horrors. I've been watching them since I was a kid. I am completely not phased now, like dozen phases, but that made my stomach churn.
Yeah,
that really did make my stomach drop.
I have a huge love and a huge respect for people who can do practical effects. Tom Savini.
You are just so on the right podcast right now.
Tom Savini is the second person I ever got tongue-tied with. I went up to meet him and I couldn't form words, and I stood there and I went bleeding marvelous, thanks, yeah. And he signed a picture of him and Ari Lehman for me, and it's downstairs in my front room. And a couple of years ago, what I try and do is every year I go and I find somebody on, I won't use the name, I will, Cameo, and I find a star, and you can pay them to do a video. Well, I got Tom to do a video for the page, so I try and. It's not like a reward, because that makes me sound like a weirdo, but I don't want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody for sticking around for the year. So we've had Tom Savini, Doug Jones, we've had Tony Todd, Bill Moseley.
The last one, Ginger Snaps this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, Catherine Isabel this year. But when Tom did it, I was expecting like a 2-minute video. No, 10 minutes. He toured us around. If you go on the TikTok, he tours us around his. He's got like a studio in his back garden, and he walks us around all of his characters that he's created and talks about some of them, and it's absolutely nuts. And to this day, he's one person I'd actually like to physically be able to get words out to talk to one day. But he's him, Robert Kurzman as well, the guy who invented Freddy. can't not give him an honourable mention. But there's so many guys like Stan Winston, you know, that they paved the way for CGI in some respects, because there had to be a starting point, and that.
But in many cases, it's not an improvement, though. That's the thing with a lot of it. It kind of takes like the scary factor out.
Yeah.
I know recently, like say, I love the show Wednesday, like the show, but the CG in that didn't spoil it, but it didn't add to it as well. It could have worked so much better. I know it's Tim Burton as well, so if they did use a bit more practical effects for like the monsters and stuff like that, I know it's hard. It's easier to do now with CGI.
Yeah.
But there's so many aspects if they use, like going back to like say the original like an American Werewolf in London, like the way they did the effects and changed the werewolf. I know you couldn't do that for the likes of Harry Potter because it's going to scare the kids. But to have a realistic change would have made it a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more fun for me. But that, again, that's just always down to personal preference there. I would always go, you can always spot a practical effect over a special effect, and it just impacts you more as well.
I always find it more special when practical effects are involved, because I mean, like special effects makeup, and a huge Tom Savini fan, and Rick Baker as well, especially. Yeah, I could sit and listen to the Nine, I see him. I can sit and listen to them two just wax lyrical about processes and, you know, ideas and concept arts, and I love it. So I do get slightly disheartened when I feel that you know, practical effects could have been used.
Yeah.
But I do get what you mean by like Wednesday. It would have been very difficult because there was a lot that they did practical. Like obviously Thing was practical. But that monster was something to be desired.
Yeah.
Especially with what you know that can be done.
Yeah.
Like, you watched a man physically transform from man to wolf. You've seen it happen, and that was what, in the 70s? So I don't know. Personal preference.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I mean, there's so many times you sit, and CGI is great for your Marvels and your big, impossibly space-based, nobody can go and film up there. You know what I mean? CGI is great for those kind of films, but I still think Aliens did it. Aliens pre-CGI to the extent that it is today. I'm not talking about your like Star Wars pew pew, you know, your little no, none of that. You know, but they still managed to do it without any of it, and it was so much scarier watching Alien and Aliens compared to watching something now that's based in space, because you're just like,
I'm more scared of the process after we did our Alien talk, and bloody Kev told us how they did half the stuff. I was good, Jesus Christ. And he was sending us pictures of dogs in, like, oh my God, terrifying.
When you actually start digging into stuff and you see the behind the scenes and the amount of work that goes into it, you're just like, okay, the guys that sit there and can create frame after frame after frame after frame of CGI, I take my hat off, because that must be so monotonous. I find that the practical side of it must be so much more rewarding for the people doing it, because it's not a repeat. It's making something into something that you can see, that you can touch, that you can feel, and the actors can see and touch and feel it as well. And the actors respond better, I think, to actually seeing a practical thing than a tennis ball on a stick. You know, it's.
Well, I always look like Ghostbusters for an example. I know when you look at like the making of Ghostbusters and everything that was on behind the scenes, like the pressure they were on to do them things, and like half the stuff they made was like by mistake or just like say lying. When they said, "Oh, make Slimer look like John Belushi," he went, "How am I going to make him look like John Belushi?" So he came back the day and didn't make any changes and said, "Yeah, I made him look more like John Belushi." And he went, "Yeah, you can see it now."
Yeah,
it's just,
it works.
But like say the things that they did back then, like number one, like I know I've said before, with Ghostbusters, if you take the jokes out, you get a pretty scary horror film. But probably the number one jump scare in any film that still gets me today is that library ghost as well, and the way that was done as well was just perfect.
But you used to scare the shit out of my sister.
But I still think, I said, when you talk about CGI, a lot of people use it now to hide over like like mistakes or bad things in movies as well. So that when it's used, when CGI is used well, you don't even notice it's there type thing.
Exactly.
But as you said, how much fun it would have been to work on these sets, like building these practical effects and seeing what works and just testing and trying these things, and then changing it up to be someone sitting on a computer. And like I know what it's like sitting on a computer now, because that's all I do when I like build the podcast, put the designs together and stuff like that. It's like putting together like even the little bits it's moving it like pixel by pixel. Sometimes it can drive you nuts, but it's like different things like all the time. But yeah, I've got so much love and admiration to what was done. That's why I think the 80s was always the best, like film wise, like any type of thing. Even the music was better in the 80s, but that's just me saying that. But yeah.
Part of me thinks so. Go on, sorry.
No, go on. I was just going to say he can get the 80s in there every episode.
Well, part of me thinks a lot of it has to do with the nostalgia factor to us. I mean, a kid now watching what we watched, my nephews are 13, 12 and 10, and they watched Ghostbusters for the first time about a year ago. They watched Labyrinth, Dark Crystal. I went out and I bought them all on DVD, and I went to my sister, make them watch them, educate your children. And they loved Ghostbusters. So for me to think that 30 years on, almost 40-ish, for these kids, you know, it's still got that power of making a kid go, and it hasn't got all the bells and whistles of a Marvel movie. So if a film can still do that in 40 years, then it stands up. It's like Gremlins.
Yes.
They thought it was hilarious. The puppets were so well done by Rick Baker. The whole concept of these little things, I don't know where it came from. Technically it's a Christmas movie, so I'm told, but I also think it's a horror Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I have met Corey Feldman, by the way. He did HorrorCon a couple of years ago, and dressed as Michael Jackson. And
I think that's the look now. I don't think he's getting away from that.
Yeah, I think he's coming back this year though to Wales, isn't it, or Liverpool?
He's doing Liverpool, and they're doing a Frog Brothers duo. Really? So
yeah, and I know like that's I have to, because I know I've mentioned before, and I've like I am one of the biggest Goonies fans there is. Like me and Dave Dent's talked about the Goonies quite a lot. I even made Sam do a full episode on the Goonies where I just talked the full plot of the Goonies, but I did actually make it like try and do like every single episode where I'll get a Goonies reference into the podcast at some point, or bring something back like the 7 stages of Kevin Bacon. But he is one of the people, because I loved Mouth as a kid. Like one of my favorite guys. Like I love like any Corey film like Lost Boys, License to Drive, Stand By Me, or my childhood type thing.
Yeah.
And I have heard things about him as well, like when he meets at cons, that he's not meant to be the nicest of people. So it's one of the things that I want to meet him just to say, I'll probably be like, I'll be tongue-tied, but if he turned out to be a dick, it would break my heart.
He was a man of few words when I met him. I don't know whether he was, because he was going through a lot at that point, and I don't know if he was in his medicated phase, shall we say, or not. Right. He was dressed head to toe in black and gold studs.
Right.
He had sunglasses. Yeah, he wore sunglasses in a photo that I have with him. And I couldn't get over how short he was. And I think for me, I'm only 5'3", so I think everybody's tall, right? Everybody's tall, no matter what. When I watch him on telly, giant.
Well, you're gonna get a shock if you see me in real life. I'm 5'9".
But this is the thing, and when you meet people in real life, you do step back a self, because you have a preconceived notion of what you think these people are. And Corey Feldman is only about 5'5", 5'6". And he had lifts.
Oh my God, I'm going to tower over him.
He had lifts on his shoes, and he was stood next to me. And in the photo, there's only like me here and him here. And that was one of the things I went away with thinking, apart from the fact, you dress like Michael Jackson. But the other thing was just like, I can't believe how small you are. And I know
that's what you're taking away from it. I love it.
Not like, oh my God, he was a lovely man or anything like that. But it was just like, oh my God, you're tiny. You know, and as a tiny person myself, I get to get away with saying stuff like that. But you know.
No,
I get very uncomfortable I get very uncomfortable if someone is like next to who I'm taller than. I'll kind of step away from you so there's not that weirdness, because I am a giant.
My partner's
5'9" isn't a giant.
I am a giant.
Compared to
I have to stand next.
huge.
I have to stand next to my mother, who's like 4'11". I feel like a giant.
Yeah, my other half's 6'2", so it's not an issue. It's like, it's leaning post, when he gets tired.
Yeah, I do that to my mum and all.
But there's like as you said, there's certain people I would love to meet. Like Sean Astin as well is one of the ones on the bucket list. Like if I ever met him, I would say if I'm not talking about Lord of the Rings, I don't want to talk about Strange Things. Just tell us about the Goonies. That's literally.
No.
And I know, like I say,
he's at Wales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But watching the Golden Globes the other night actually made me night. Like the guy, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name because I will say it right.
Kwan.
Yeah.
Like his speech
broke
me. It broke me so much. Like how lovely and how nice. I know there was a video as well of Sean Astin and the guy who played Chuck, Jeff. I can't remember his surname now. Jeff Cohen, sorry. Introducing them as well and talking about the Goonies and stuff. It was just one of the best things I've seen in a long time.
I've got an honorary mention on here for Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I know it isn't a horror film, but
I need to see it.
It is the most bizarre fucking film you will ever lay eyes on. It is not what you think again, which is why I liked it so much. But it was the fact that you got to see these actors, I hadn't seen him in anything since Goonies, Raiders. I know he had bit parts.
Because he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, he did a bit part in something else, but I can't remember what it was. I think it was California, Encino Man.
Encino Man, he's an Encino Man with Brendan Fraser for a few seconds, but this has been the whole hype of his Golden Globe award was that he hasn't been cast in because he was typecast, a child typecast actor, and he could not get roles as an adult. And watching him revel in this whole buzz is just been absolutely fantastic. I've cried on every interview he's done. On every sit down talk he's done, I have bawled my eyes out because I'm like, he's back.
Have you heard where his next role for Kevin Feige is?
He's going to be in, oh my God, he said it the other day, he's just signed up for Loki.
Loki season 2.
Yes.
Is he really?
Yes. Ooh. He is going MCU, interesting.
In saying that, though, they've got the Murray in the Quantum Mania trailer. I saw Bill Murray and I was like, I think, all right, I'm not one of these people who embarrass myself in public, but I was watching it in my lunch break at work and Bill popped up and I went, oh my God, in the middle of my office. And everybody's like, what the hell's gone wrong? It's just Bill Murray.
It's all right. Panic over.
Bill Murray's going to be in a Marvel film.
I know, it shocked the shit out of me too.
But they are keeping his role ultra secret. They're not letting anything about it, so that would be
good. It'd be lovely to have some surprises.
That's what I like. Don't put an entire movie in the fucking trailer. I am sick to death of it when they do that. I'll just watch the trailer for free. I don't want to. Cinemas now are like what, a 50 quid at least for two people to go to the cinema now to buy food, like a popcorn, tickets, and maybe a drink, right? 50 quid at least. That's 50 quid of hard-earned money I'm choosing to spend with you. Don't put your fucking entire movie in the goddamn trailer. Don't do it.
I had that run last year with the whole of spoiling Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, it basically told us the whole prop that we were getting 3 Spider-Men without showing them. But it was like, wait there, how is the lizard fighting an invisible space here and stuff? But that thing and kind of giving away the whole Egon spoil with Ghostbusters, not to the degree, but I'm trying to stay away from trailers now. That's why we don't do trailer reactions as much. Yeah. Because, but like I say, I watched the new Ant-Man 1 that came out this week, and again, I'm gutted I've watched it because I've given away MODOK. And basically the whole, like saying Kang in the full outfit we've seen in the trailer now, that would have been nice to see in the cinema. But
I think the thing is they loop so much of it together that that Kang's going to turn up somewhere in the realm of the movies, because it's bound to happen. Same with like the new Captain America Falcon. I'm not keen, but that's the way they've gone. I just don't know if it's because I don't like the character of Falcon myself. I'm not sure. He's not got the likability factor. Bucky kills loads of people, but everybody still likes Bucky. And I'm not saying it's because I know women like him because he's attractive. But that's not the reason I can separate that from a film. I like a character because I like a character, not because they're pretty or they look like a young Luke Skywalker or.
But I think with Bucky, like he got his backstory when he with Steve, so you kind of got like that emotional attachment. Like Falcon, you kind of get a little bit, but he's just a generic smart mouth hero, which
he's just there.
Yeah, I like Sam Wilson, comic Sam Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was buzzing my tits off, and I was there with bells on at Forbidden Planet when he became Captain America. I was there for it, and I absolutely. But him being Cap in the movies, with it being Anthony Mackie playing him, I don't know.
It's the guy that got owned by Slim Shady, so you can't really.
Anne says that every time we watch something with Anthony Mackie.
It's one of those, you're just going to see where it goes, how it goes. You know, it's. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I don't like him, and I feel like he needs a bit of something.
But just to check as well, have you seen Black Panther 2 yet?
No.
Right.
No, I haven't.
Disney Plus, 1st of February. I'll be watching it.
Yeah, I just not got around to it because it was one of those ones that came out in the midst of just before Christmas, I think it was.
Yeah,
and
November time.
Me, Chadwick is going to be a hard one to
replace.
I mean,
it worked. It worked because like Angela Bassett is unbelievable in it.
Oh, Queen!
But the whole subplot, I'll not spoil it, but it kind of gives away where a certain area of the Marvel universe is going to go. Well, I think it is. So, like say, cause you put two together and get 3. But to me, they're being quite obvious because I was wondering how they were going to fit in. Like say, it's not a spoiler because this is just a theory. How they're going to fit the Thunderbolts in. After watching that movie now, I think I've got an idea how they're going to get the Thunderbolts in now.
Interesting. I can't wait. I'm a huge Submariner fan. I can't even say his name. Neymar. So I'm looking forward to seeing the MCU's version of him because I understand it's very different.
Am I right in saying though that they've got David Harbour as part of the Thunderbolts? They've got Yelena. She's going to be part of the Thunder. Yeah, because I was trying to. Because the picture they released of the Thunderbolts, you could just about make up like 1 or 2 of them who they were, but I couldn't. I don't know whether it was just a bad picture I was looking at, but
it was at one of the Disney events. But the rumors are it's not the full Thunderbolts that they've announced. So it's Ghost, Yelena. So Ghost out with Ant-Man and Wasp. Yelena.
Red Guardian,
Bucky,
Taskmaster.
I think that's it that they've announced. But apparently, Bucky's going to be in it.
Interesting.
But that's why I think I know where they're going to go with it if Bucky's involved. But but apparently Harrison Ford's going to be replacing General Ross. So
because William Hurt. Yeah, William Hurt passed away last year.
Yeah,
I heard nice things about him.
Yeah, I read some. Yeah. Incredibly problematic person.
Yeah.
Who, Harrison Ford?
No. William Hurt.
Harrison Ford is the grumpy old fucker I intend to be when I am old.
I'm him now.
He is that. He just embodies that. Like, just fuck off. I can't be bothered. What do you want to talk to me for? Just leave me alone. I'm happy over here by myself. I just love that whole, and it's not put on. You can just tell everything is an inconvenience, and it is just fantastic.
I share a birthday with him.
I felt so sorry for him when he was in Newcastle because he literally just got followed around the streets by all the scummers going, there's Harrison Ford, walking around the streets in Newcastle. But yes, so he's meant to be coming in as Red Hulk.
Yeah. So
we're gonna because they didn't announce Abomination. Because that was a surprise. Because I thought Abomination was going to be in, but they haven't announced that. Apparently,
I wonder if that would be Tim Roth still though, because She-Hulk, he was just Abomination in She-Hulk. So they've amalgamated the old Hulk with the new.
I really liked what they did with Tim Roth and She-Hulk. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I was like, that took me for a spin. I was on board with that.
Yeah, but apparently Ed Norton was asked to be in She-Hulk and he turned it down.
Because he's an asshole. No, I'm kidding.
Apparently, because that was going to be the spin. You know how like he goes into like she breaks the fourth wall and stuff, and
Yeah.
like it was going to be have like another version of the Hulk in it and stuff. But apparently Baron Zemo is going to play a part. That's supposed to be going to be another hidden character in there.
Yes.
But,
He was such a wasted character. Love him.
And I think we'll probably get Sharon Carter back as well.
Oh, fuck that. I don't know. Check out. Out.
Yes. Anyway, going back to horror films.
Sorry.
Sharon Carter is what breaks.
Yeah, she just, oh no, she's not for me. No, it was my fault. I bought Sons of Marvel. I always will. It's my go-to sort of, like I say, it's just something that I enjoy.
I am a proclaimed massive Marvel fangirl, so I could talk your ear off.
But that's the thing. We never stay on track when we do any of these things anyway. So
never. But that's the fun. Mix it up.
I want to give a mention to The Descent.
Terrifies. Still scared. I can't watch it.
Craig Conway, one of the most underrated actors I think out there at the moment. He it was Neil Marshall, didn't he? He did Dog Soldiers and he did The Descent, and I think he did. I can't remember what the other one he did.
There's one where all the people
which one's The
locked
Descent?
into Scotland. It's the one where they go into the Welsh caves.
Yeah, Doomsday.
Doomsday, that was it. Yeah.
Doomsday. Yeah, Craig was Sol in Doomsday. And he also played all the subterranean monsters in The Descent.
Is that the one where they go splunking?
Yeah, they go spelunking. All the American women go spelunking.
I love that film. I've seen it.
It must be about a cast of, I want to say, 6 people.
Yeah, I've seen
as total, maybe.
I'm actually shocked. I've seen something someone's mentioned,
and it's just so well executed for such a small cast. And I think for the budget that it was on at the time as well, it wasn't a big budget movie.
No, you can tell it looks very indie.
But it's like when they're in those tiny spaces, you're in those tiny spaces.
Yeah.
When you see that rat,
I'm getting hot sweats already now.
When you see the subterranean rats, running from them, you're running from them. It's filmed in such a way that you actually feel
the claustrophobia.
You're in there. Yeah.
There's one moment that I do get taken out of that film completely, and it's when one of them goes all Lara Croft.
Yeah.
It just for just that brief second where she literally goes from normal person to Lara Croft, and you're like, but then you can kind of pull yourself back into the claustrophobia of it.
But that's the thing though, I didn't think I was claustrophobic until I watched that film. And then now, like anytime I see
it makes you itch.
and now I see like a tunnel, or like, because like when I was a kid I used to go like I don't know how I didn't die and stuff living in Rye, like say there's that many tunnels and like things we used to climb in or climb through. Like there was a tunnel that used to be sewage water that used to go from one area to the beach, and like literally if you slipped you were dead, because it would have, like say we used to climb through it. I don't know how we'd like say if your parents are watching, I'm sorry actually. But now if I look into a tunnel because I watched that film, I get like I can't. It just freaks us out. Like even if you look going through like tight spaces, I get short of breath and thinking it's just that film was like so well done, but because it scared us.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And the people, the monsters in it as well, like their eyes, like that's always used to stay with you.
So good. Such a monster that I wish would be used more. Like that style of monster anyway. Like that. Oh, you just can't quite make out, but you can kind of see something. Oh, I love that. I really enjoyed that film.
I've got a question for you two then. What was the first horror film you two watched? Can you remember watching?
Yep.
Jaws.
But is that a monster movie or is that a horror film?
It's the same thing.
Fucking
Like say it scared us. I wouldn't go and say I wouldn't go in the water again for it. Probably the first horror film, like actual horror was probably The Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, mine was probably Freddy, just because I've had this conversation many times on this podcast, but I have a friend who literally had everything. Like I got into Elvira at the age of 6 because she showed us the video of it. But she was the one who always had the dodgy tapes, the ones that we weren't allowed to watch. No, actually, that's such a lie. It wasn't Freddy. It was Dolly Dearest. Bitch. Absolutely.
No, there's so many people that do not know that film. That film had Rip Torn in it, didn't it?
Yes.
And
not enough to
to this day, my sister, I'll tell you a story about the film. I had a sleepover for one of my birthdays. I must have been about maybe 10, 12, something like that. And my little sister was 2 years younger than me. And we used to have these clowns that we used to put our pajamas in because, 80s.
Oh my God, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. And we were watching, for the sleepover, we were watching, there's about 6 of us in the front room watching Dolly Dearest. Because, you could go to the shop.
What? My mum allowed you to do that?
Back in the day, you went with a note, didn't you? My mum said, I can have that. And the video man went, yeah, all right then. And so, yeah.
Mum, you stood up a packet of fags, so...
me
So we watched it, and my sister took one of those clowns, and she pretended to march it around the corner, but because we couldn't see my sister, it looked like the clown had come to life and come around the corner. And that film, to this day, is like an ongoing joke, because we screamed and ran away because we were girls, and it was a sleepover, my poor mum, I think she was asleep at the time. She weren't after that. But yeah, to this day, that is like one of the family jokes about that film.
I can't dare say it was the first one I ever saw. It probably was Freddy, but Dolly Dearest will be the one that sticks in my head because it's the one that really scared us. Like, I had to sleep in my parents' room because my sister wasn't around at the time. I had to sleep in my parents' room for months upon end. I have never, ever owned baby dolls, ever. I have never owned the only dolls I own are the ones that I have up on here because I'm an adult now and I can accept that. But when I was younger, I've never owned dolls. Action figures have been my best friends because they're tiny and they're not huge and they're not going to murder me in the middle of the night. And ironically, as an adult, Child's Play became one of my favorite films. But I could never bring myself to watching it. It wasn't because it was a killer doll. It was just the fact it was a doll.
Yeah.
That was it. Not killer, just a doll. Could never do it.
No, I think I've told this story about Jaws many times. Like, with us living in the northeast and Sunderland being near the beach, and watching that for the first time. My mum used to take us to Roker Beach during the summer holidays just to get so she didn't have to look after us and say
go to the beach, child. Play with the sand.
Play with the other kids, and she'll sit with other parents and talk and shit. And I wouldn't go in the water for at least a good year after watching that movie. So I always say Jaws is one of the scariest movies that ever was. There was even a short time it scared us from going in the bath. I thought all water could potentially have a shark in. That's how young I was when I watched it as well. But like I say, I think being back at the age we were, and the time they were, parents were a little bit more liberal in what they let kids watch them days.
Yeah, mine must have been really fucking laid back because the amount of shit that I used to watch, I'm surprised. To be honest, I would never really tell them. The only time they ever knew that I watched something that I shouldn't is when I got scared, and Dolly Dearest being one of them, and Silence of the Lambs being the other, and that was just a massive I was at a sleepover and me and my friend had gone downstairs and our dad was watching Silence of the Lambs and I was like, oh my God, this is interesting. I like horror movies. What's going on here? And he introduced me to the world of cannibals. And to this day, Silence of the Lambs is one of my favorite films. I absolutely adore it. I have signed pictures on my wall behind us of the cast and everything. And I still, to this day, I can't do cannibals. I
wouldn't expect you to do them, but
no, I can't watch anything. I can't watch anything. I can't watch documentaries on them. I can't. It's far too fucking real for us. Really real. It's how my nephew felt when he watched Shaun of the Dead and got freaked out. And I'm pissing my sides laughing, going, "How could you get scared of this?" And it wasn't until I realized that it was a zombie film in England.
Right.
And that's home. And he recognized the streets look familiar and it really freaked him out. But no, I totally get it's real. And that's what cannibals are. They are real.
So throwing the question back at you, Dan, what was the first horror movie you saw?
The Burning.
Ah. Now, is that right?
The Shears, yeah. It was hot on the tails after Friday the 13th. It was camp slasher movie, must get some out quick. This one was such a success. We've got to get another one out. And it was ridiculous. I just remember being about 8 or 9 and laughing all the way through it. And I think I watched it with my mum's best friends' kids, Kirsty and Stephen and my sister were best friends. So there was 4 of us. Bearing in mind, we must have been between the ages of 8 and 12, somewhere along that line. And all 4 of us just sat there and were like,
wasn't that one of the video nasties as well? Wasn't it banned for a few years or something like that?
It was, yeah. But I would say as a kid, the one that affected me the most was Nightmare on Elm Street 1, where Freddy, it was nothing like, none of the slashing, none of her bouncing around the ceilings, none of that. It was the bit where he came out above her bed.
Yeah.
And the stretchy bit, like, because I had that wall that was white right above my bed, and I was convinced he was going to do it.
Please tell us you didn't have a crucifix there as well.
No.
That's where he was coming though, wasn't he?
Yeah. I'm trying to think as well, like, because I did put in my top 5 horror films that wasn't including a slasher, just because it did scare us as a kid, and I think it's still scary now, was The Witches, the Roald Dahl one. I think that, again, like, the kids' films back in the day, if you look, like, watch that, like, it's not scary, but, like, things like Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven and stuff like that were quite intense, I think. But I remember The Witches absolutely terrorized, but like I say, because it was quite close to what Roald Dahl wrote as well, like that, the idea of having the photograph on the wall and getting possessed in the photograph and people watching you age and nothing you can do. You just like say that premise is just terrifying.
It's haunting.
Honestly,
it's absolutely haunting.
It really is. We used to, when we were at school, going back, like, I think it might have even been juniors or infant school, whatever they are called these days, I don't know. But we were in juniors or infants, and they let us read, like, all of the Roald Dahl films. So we had the Twits, we had Witches. I remember George's Marvelous Medicine, and they have banned that from being read in schools, I heard, because he mixes ketamine. He puts ketamine in it with lead-based paint and all this sort of stuff, so they're scared that the kids are going to replicate it and think it's okay. And but
that
George's
is amazing.
Marvelous Medicine was such a messed up book. If you go back and read it now, it's like that kid would have died. One smell of that would have killed him, not alone like one mouthful of that stuff. It's just it was crazy.
I still remember the Rick Mail Jackanory that did it for the dream. I think it's still on YouTube. You can find it. Like, his reading of it was absolutely one of my favorite things I've ever seen, like, to date. But but yes.
I love it.
Just realised the time there. Sorry.
Yeah, we are kicking on.
Yes.
I just want to get your thoughts on one thing, because I have 2 favorite films, and any list, these 2 will never change. The rest of them could just depend on how I feel, but these 2 won. Ghostbusters is 1,
right,
and The Exorcist is the 2nd.
Right.
How do you feel about The Exorcist?
I actually like it. I think the problem people have with it is they go in with so much expectation because of the history, shall we say, that it had, you know, like in the 70s, the people passing out in the theatres. They'd never seen anything like it, you know, and it was a suspense thriller, horror. You know, it had all 3 elements all the way through, and it did such a good job of building up the storyline, from everything being a girl playing an innocent board game with a ghost, with a demon, you know.
Innocent?
To then, well, at the time, Ouija boards were a kid's game.
It was.
They still are. You know,
done by, was it Mattel or Kenner?
Mattel.
Yeah, Mattel.
And so technically it's a girl playing an innocent, you know, game of Ouija with a demon that she thought was just something that was very innocent. And then it goes on and on and on and on, and you think to yourself, oh, something's happening, and you always think to yourself it's just about to get there, and then it pulls back. So you never quite get that big until you get the shock factor moments in her possession. And it's like William Blatty, when he wrote it, he based it on that real life exorcism.
Annalise, Annalise. Oh, we could be here all night, but it's the German girl who had the exorcism.
Well, there's that one, and also there was an exorcism.
There was a little boy.
In America somewhere, and he'd taken people's experiences and tried to put them into a book. And when you read the book, I love the book, but like seeing that movie with your eyes is a whole different thing to imagining it when you're reading the book. Because when you're reading the book and you've not seen the film, you don't know what you're looking at. You don't know how to create some of those moments. And you see that film, and the bit with the cross, the bit where she actually, she goes up on the bed, and then when Jason Patrick's dad gets thrown out the window, you know, you're just like, Holy
That's
shit.
Jason Patrick's dad.
Yes. Yeah.
Father Damien Karras.
Yes. Yeah.
Fuck off.
No, honestly, Google that shit.
I thought I knew everything about that film. My God, okay.
But yeah, and it's like it holds that element of surprise right up until the last minute, because you're like, they won't kill him off. Why would they do that? And then they do, and it's like, it's not a spoiler if you haven't seen it, for crying out loud. It's 40-something years old.
No,
but,
we don't worry.
We don't hold nothing for spoilers unless it's really fresh, like Black Panther, which I've not seen.
But it is one of things. Yeah,
it is my favorite film of all time. I find it absolute perfection. Even though I'm not scared of it, I can still see the scary elements to it. I can see the psychological part of it. I can see the practical effects in there. I can watch many documentaries, which I have done, because oh God, what's his name? He's a reviewer. What's his name? I can't think of his name. He's a film critic, and it's his perfect film is The Exorcist. And just I can watch all these documentaries and I'll still go and watch the film just as it is and find something completely new about it
to me,
that I've not noticed before.
Yeah, I've had this conversation before. I was always underwhelmed just because I think, as I said, the legend or everything that came before, it was one of them ones where there was the video nasty that was banned for so long. So when we actually got it, even though the first version was cut to bits, there was a lot of stuff we think that they put back in, but I always prefer the story behind The Exorcist and the legend that came with it to the actual movie. But again, I know when we reviewed it, I went back and watched and tried to think of the positives. So I did say, like, I wasn't just saying, no, I don't like this film, I don't think this is shit. But like I say, because that's what when we try and do these reviews, we always try and think of the positives. Because like we've stopped letting the group decide, because they made us do Orgasmo once, and that was just interesting.
We had to be nice, because we have a general rule of thumb. We're trying to keep the toxicity out of fandoms. Right. So to shit on something is just, it's allowing that toxicity or allowing that behavior to be welcomed. And that's not what we're trying to do. And then also at the end of the day, there's a lot of hard work goes behind movies and TVs and such. So we don't like to shit on them. But doing Orgasmo was incredibly fucking difficult.
But
really difficult.
I say it's similar to how you run your page as well. Like similar, we have similar rules on the group. Like I love yours is just don't be a dick. And that's
number one rule.
Yeah.
Just don't be a dick. It's not a difficult thing. You make that choice the minute you type something or you say something. You make that choice that you're purposefully going to be a dick. And is it necessary? Just ask yourself two questions. Did that question before. Is it necessary for me to really type this? Is it? Nah. Then don't bother. Lovely. Crack on. Yeah. But I always invite people on the page. If you don't like something, that's cool. You don't have to. Nobody has to agree with anybody else. But give me a valid reason as to why you don't, so you can be a grown up and have a chat about it. Yes. I don't think I'm going to change anybody's mind. I'm not here to say you're wrong. You must like it. I just like to see what other people's opinions are about things.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. Like I said, as you said, we're adults, and that conversation is one of the reasons why we started Nerdy Up the North, is because, like I said, that was the conversation I was missing. I couldn't go in the pub and have that conversation with friends about stuff you like and stuff we don't like. Like say, I like some horrendous films. Sam hasn't seen many films, so it's always
that's always the running joke. I've not, and this is why I got really excited when someone mentioned a film I'd actually seen, because for the fact I've done this for 2 years, and I used to do YouTube before this. I've not seen a lot of films. And I have a list as long as my arm of films that I have not seen. And it's embarrassing when I go through it.
Yeah, and like I say, because last week's episode we did The Big Bang Theory. And again, The Big Bang Theory isn't for everyone. But as soon as we posted that we were doing The Big Bang Theory, you got all the people on saying, that's shit. Well, tell us why it's shit. Or it's just shit.
Yeah.
Well, have you watched it? No. So how do you know it's shit? Or it's a negative view on nerd culture. I was good, but why is it a negative? And then, like say, it snowballs. But that's the thing. As I said, when it comes to opinions, everyone's got one, and I don't mind. Yeah. Like I said, that's why I like Dave when Dave posts something, because he'll say, "Oh, I didn't like something," but he'll tell you why he didn't like something.
Yeah, he'll back it up. He'll have a conversation with you.
Yeah. like say one of my best friends, Kev, who comes on the PS, he just normally says something dog shit. So I've stopped trying to even engage in conversations now, because he just like say. But if you did ask him about it, he'll at least tell you why, and that's the thing. But it's the ones that where they try and think it's cool to not like something just to fit in. Like say I'm a big fan of Twilight. I'll laugh and joke about it. I'll watch Twilight, and that's like say one of my crosses I'll bear for the rest of my life. But but people always like,
I'll carry that with me.
But people like they say oh, Twilight shit. Well, have you watched Twilight? No, but I just know it's shit. But why do you know it's shit? Even though like say it is shit, but I like it because it's shit.
I think it's one of those things where a fandom gets so carried away with something, it makes it better for the fans, and it's about the community of the film rather than the actual films. Because you look at the fandom of it, just taking The Big Bang, for example, right? They're saying it's a negative view on nerddom, but I tell you something, they brought nerds to the forefront. If it wasn't for them, people who are like, I'm trying to think of all their names, but astrophysicists, string theory, the theory of relativity, they brought things that none of us are really taught, because you have to be a genius level mathematician to know what string theory is. But they brought these things into the modern day conversation. Oh yeah, of course, because he's a string theorist. We don't know what that is, but we know that he does that in that program, therefore he must be really clever. And then you think to yourself, okay, well, if he knows that, he must be really clever, therefore he's really good at what he does, so he must be really cool. So it brought nerd culture in a different light for a lot of people as well. And yeah, okay, they are your atypical nerds, but it doesn't matter.
But they were so unapologetic about it.
Exactly.
It made you feel better that I explained last week on the podcast that I was introduced this because my husband is a massive nerd and I wasn't. I was very much into my music. I'm an alternative. I'm an alternative. I am alternative. And he introduced it to me to be like, just because you're one thing, it doesn't mean that you don't have to love what you used to love. Because I was starting to get into comics. I was starting to, really miss the fact that, me what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God, why are my words failing me today?
It can be accepting for anything and just be you.
Exactly. So you like the fact that as a child you loved your figures. Well, you can still do that now. You can still be that person you were back then. And that's how he sold it to me. And that's why Big Bang will always have a massive place. Man, I'm still watching it right now. I started it last Sunday before we did the podcast. I'm on season 5 now.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's free to like what they like. There's no rules to say that you can't like what you like. That's the beauty
accepting it.
But that's the beauty of being an individual. I like things that you're going to not like, and then that's fine, because that's what makes us different.
My Kindle's just turned on by itself. It's just freaked us out. Sorry.
So the big question now, because I know we've talked.
We've been on for a while, but
so what's next for, say you, Dan? What's next for the Bleeding Marvelous? What's the plans to go forward? Because I know, as you said, you're getting into TikTok and being down with the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Selling it all and moving to an island with just one house on, probably. No, I don't know. All I can do is try my best. I mean, for me, it's from how I started the business to how you have to promote businesses now has changed so dramatically. I have to find ways where we're going to fit in the new market. There's a place for everybody, but you've just got to find it. And we know we've got the people that want to buy our goods. We know that we sell stuff that people want, and we know we get to the right shows for people to see those things. But it's just the whole social media side of it that's going to need a bit of working on. But if anybody's got any ideas, help.
Certainly, and that's hopefully what you guys can what we can do as well is help each other, because we're trying to grow. Even though we're not selling anything or not selling ourselves, selling our souls.
Sell my soul. You can have it.
We are trying to expand
have one.
and grow things, because I think with us it kind of blew up so quickly. It was hard to take in or what to do, because most people we speak to, like YouTube channels, have only got 100 subscribers, and we've already got like over 1,000.
Yeah.
And like say with the Facebook group, that's grown on a daily basis. So it's just like trying to capitalize, or not capitalize is the wrong word, but trying to engage and move with the times and try and see what the next step is for us, because we want to, like say, keep on progressing. And like say, this is like one of the ideas as well, is to reach out to like say nerdy businesses or nerdy people in the nerd culture to try and like say build like that relationship, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's to build through community. And I feel like I found my soul sister. So
oh, run, just run.
Yeah, you're telling Sammy that, because by all means, no. I don't run unless I'm being chased. I can't be bothered. So
Sam just gets attached and she never lets go. Like I've been trying to get.
I will never let go. Yeah, we've known each other far too long. Since 20 odd years. Okay.
But yeah, eventually, I mean, I'd like to be one of the, go-to places in the UK for people to think, oh, horror, oh, yeah. Or, that thing that I saw once from that film that was back in the 80s and she's got something from them.
Yeah.
And they sell it there. Oh, yeah, we'll go there. That the idea was always eventually to take Bleeding Marvellous into a full-time job, have the warehouse, do the big website pull, do, things like that. But realistically, people slowly cotton on to the fact that horror sells. There's a huge fandom, so you have to be careful where you put yourself with the things that you sell, because you can quickly fall into selling the same shit as everybody else. Not shit, but you know what I mean. Selling the same items and selling the same things, and you're not setting yourself apart, and you're not putting yourself at a different place. That's what I always strive to. I will sit for 3 hours scrolling through wholesale websites trying to find things that I don't see when I'm walking around conventions, because with no disrespect to any of the other vendors, but I see the same guys all the time, because we are lucky enough to be a good community that all work together when we go to these shows. But I don't want to be selling the same as those. We all sell Funkos because God forbid they sell. I would make the choice never to sell another Funko in my entire life if they didn't sell, because I hate transporting them. I hate taking them with me, but they sell. So until the day they stop selling, we're going to sell them. But other than that, I try my bestest to find random shit that nobody else has, so that we can be those people that go, oh, did you see that? Did you see that? They've got that. And I've slowly started to notice now, like on For the Love of Horror page, when they're looking for certain items, they go, that store that had that thing, and it's us they're talking about, which is great, because we're getting that, we're being remembered, so to speak, for the items that we sell. Not necessarily our name, but,
Well, I'm going to be stalking the shit out of you when I go to conventions from now on.
Don't know whether you should be scared or not then.
Yeah, but I know what you mean by, and especially like for someone who goes to, I know I work them, but I also, attend the floor, and there is just booth after booth of same. So I am looking for the different, the unique. So I love that you're trying to set yourself apart from that.
And it's not to say that what everybody else is selling is rubbish, because I know these guys are just hard. They work just as hard as us. And a lot of them, it's their full-time job. So I get offended for them when I see people, oh, God, all people sell at these things is the same old shit. And it's like, hang on a minute. This is people's livelihoods. These people spend time collating. And the only problem is you do get your newbies that come in thinking they know everything, and they have literally just technically ripped off other people's setups, and because they know it works, because they've stood there, they've watched it work, and they think, I can do that. And you can tell.
Tell. If you're a Congo, you can tell.
And it's sad to see, because it sort of dilutes it for those guys that have been on the scene for so long. And it always makes me sad, because like I say, there's that community, as well as the community I hope I've created on my page. You have the community of all the traders, and everybody's got everybody's back. It's such a change. This proves how nerds and weirdos and geeks do sit well together, because there is no competition. We are all in a place where, even if you're selling something very similar or the same as another one, you'll go, what price point have you got that at? All right, okay, we won't differ. We'll keep it as similar as we can, because we don't want one to go out with outdo the other, or put themselves in a situation where they look ridiculous, or you're underselling. There tries to be this really good community, and it's so nice to see now that more and more people are sort of joining that way of thinking, and That's about as serious as I'm going to get. But yeah, it's
I love it.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear because, as you said, that's similar to what we were trying to create. Like, not like I'll be honest, I had no idea what we were creating, but as soon as something was going the way it was, it's just then, like say, trying to build on that and get more people involved. And like I said, getting yourself like this is the first time we've spoken face to face other than through chat through Facebook.
Yeah.
And we've managed to have a conversation for 2 hours without any awkward silences. Never going to have them.
And I love that. I generally, when I push this idea onto Paul, profusely, by the way, I had no idea what I wanted to do with it. I just know I knew I wanted to talk.
Yeah.
And I love talking. And I love talking about things that make us happy and that everyone else is happy about too. And I just love talking.
That's what we can tell, but that's fine.
Yeah. I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah. I've never said you should be. But no, that's the thing. It's nice to hear that there's like say that behind it as well. But I think, as I said, you're doing something right. As you remember, I found your booth one time Comic-Con a few years ago and followed your page for many years. And as you said, there is members in the group in the Northeast that do follow your page. Like I see people's names pop up post on the pages on your page as well, which again blows me mind. And again, not to sound like a fanboy as well, and you don't know how much a mentor is when, like, see, you join the group and not just join, but you contribute as well from time to time.
Yeah.
You might not. You might not
post. Sorry.
You might not post all the time or like anything, but it is noticed by me. I know it sounds strange and stalkerish, but it just validates for like what we're doing a little bit as well. So thank you.
No, honestly, I'm just a person. That's the thing that people fail to remember when they follow pages and follow groups.
Oh, yeah. I understand that.
We're not invisible. We're not. Yeah. We're real people, and if you ask us a question, we are going to get upset if it's. We have emotion. I mean, I have limited emotions because that switch goes well and truly off sometimes. But
oh God, that's something I wish I could learn. I've got all the emotions, and I've shown them every time on this podcast.
Do you know what the best thing to do is? And I always find, tackle them with kindness, because they never know what to do with that shit. They always go in, trolls, with the expectation that they're going to cause a riot or cause a situation or something like that, and with their something they'll say something. So you go back to them and you just be as nice as pie to them and crack a joke, and then if they're still persistent, I then just tell them that they obviously live in their mum's basement or something. You know, it then just gets to the point where you're just like, I'm not going to shout at you, but if you're going to keep that shit up, we can play that game, you know.
Yeah. But to be fair, like we've been quite lucky as well with the community. We've
been really fortunate.
I think we've only got like about 60 people banned from like having about 7,000 members as well.
Yeah.
And normally, and I'll be honest, most of the people that are banned are people I've known in my private life, and they've thought they can get away with stuff that probably other people couldn't. And like I say, as you said, people don't realise, as you said, you're a person as well, so things do affect. But but yes, like I said, this as I said, I was only expecting to have a conversation for about an hour and a half, so we've done well. So
we've really got to have you back on for a proper top 5, like proper get into a top 5 with us.
Yeah, I'll come on again. But top 5, Jesus, you're going to kill me with that one. But yes, give me advance warning, and I can have a mental episode trying to get it.
Maybe do a music one for you there, because I know you said you were passionate about your music, so we'll do like to do.
We do things that would be, we're not going to like spur something on you that you're not interested in, so you have to find the top 5 in that.
Anime, there you go. That's something I'm not in.
I wouldn't. I would have to get my husband to come and sit and do the podcast because I haven't got a frigging clue.
I know small, tiny little bits, or Magic the Gathering. That's something else I don't know anything about, because people come up and ask me the questions at the cons, and I'm like, I know Garbage Pail Kids. That's the limit to my trading cards knowledge.
If someone wants to come and explain it to us, that and Warhammer, I'll be happy to listen, but I just do not understand it.
But that's why we have a team, because we've got people who are experts in anime in the team. We've got people who are experts in like card games and Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that.
Jake.
So
all of them, Jake.
But yeah, so that's a nice little thing to think. But it's been a proper pleasure having you on. So thank you for coming on.
I've had so much fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
You've got a little fangirl in Sam following you now as well.
I'm harmless, really.
It's all right. I've had worse. Honestly, you're fine.
Thanks.
Honestly, it's been nice.
And that's quote of the podcast. I've had worse.
No, honestly, it's been really nice. It's nice that it's been so relaxed. So
yes.
Yeah.
We can't get any more relaxed. Don't worry.
No.
I'll lie down on my pillow. A little topsy.
Oh yay!
So,
we used to let people drink on the podcast, but that went badly once, so we'll not talk about that. But anyway, so Sunday. That's
we are back on Sunday.
Yep, we've got. We're not doing a top 5 on Sunday, but we are talking about our favourite end of the world movies.
End of the world. World's ending.
So I think Jake, Kev, and Grant. No, is it Kev, Grant, and Graham? So that's going to be an interesting one. So I wonder if Graham's going to be in drag. So.
Oh, it's always one of those moments when his camera's turning on. Is it going to be Graham or is it going to be drag Graham? We don't know. It'll be fun to find out.
But yes, but if you're not following already, please go on to Facebook and just type in Bleeding Marvelous. It is pretty easy to find as well. Like I said, I put a link on the in the description of this podcast for the website as well. But I have been pretty much sharing the link to the Facebook page on most of my posts. I've been promoting this podcast, so hopefully people will find it. But yes, follow us on Nerdy Up North Community, Instagram, shitty TikTok. I'm too old for that shit.
That's why you don't run it.
And Instagram as well. So yes, and anything you want to add there, Sammy?
No, I'll do all my little finishings on Sunday. But thank you so much for coming on the show, Dan. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Anything you want to finish off with there, Dan?
Cabin in the Woods is the best of the end of the world movies.
Excellent.
Very good point. Poise will bring up. But yes. So same bat time, same bat channel.
Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye.
Bye.